Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games with Stellar Conquest, originally by Metagaming Concepts, and ended up in Avalon Hill's possession. It is a game of exploring, discovering, using those worlds to make more stuff, and then going out further and possibly having to butt heads with your opponents. So, at the start of the game, you'll have this star map of various stars and dust clouds and such. You'll have your initial forces of 35 million people in colony transport ships, 4 scouts, and 4 corvettes. Scouts and colony ships are not able to fight. Corvettes, however, are. They are a type of warship alongside fighters and Death Stars. At the start of the game, this is what you'll have to work with. You'll also have an additional 25 industrial production to put into more ships or some initial technology. And then you will start off the corner of your entry point. Every turn, you'll have the opportunity to move ships, explore new stars, resolve any combat with enemy spaceships in the same star hexes, and then resolve any attacks you want to make against colonies, and then put any colonists you have onto the friendly planets, and then mark off 1 tick on your record sheet. Everybody will have one of these. There will be 4 turns of just moving, and then after everyone's done 4 turns of just moving, it'll go into a production step. On the back, you'll have your star map record. So, let's say you discover whatever this is. You'll draw a card for it, and you'll make a note, hey, this is card number 62. It'll be your private information to know about what the planet has. If someone else is discovering a planet or what's on a star system, what you'll probably want to do is write down the number of that player. So let's say player 2 has found out what's on this star system. So, or write the number 2 down. That way, if you make your way to that star system, you know who to get the card from. Because when you discover one, you'll take it, you'll write it down, and you will keep it a secret. Only you get to know what's there. But anyway. Actually moving. One of the nice little things the game features are these little task force tokens. So you can just split up your forces and then just put them onto the card and save yourself some trouble. So I'm going to split up the colonists between like a 20 and a 15, but otherwise give each one like 2 corvettes and 2 scouts. So we'll put the lower number of colonists for B and the higher number for A, and then they will go here. Where'd it go? I seriously... There it is. Alright. Just so it makes things easier on my end. I'll put them on my actual card over here. But anyway, actual movements. When you have things enter the board or otherwise show up on the map, you will have a destination for them. So, let's say I'm going to, make a note. Hey, Task Force A is going towards Scorpy, and Task Force B is going to Bernard. You have to make a note of this because you're not allowed to change direction until you actually reach a star along the way, or you have unlimited ship communication. Another thing that happens with movement is you are limited to moving up to 8 away from the command posts that you have with your colonies, or an imaginary command point off of your entry point. You're limited to like 8 away. So at the start of the game, this is basically where you can reach from entry point 1. But your starting movement will be 2 spaces, 2, and you'll have to move as directly towards that star system as possible. So turn 1 of the game, that's where they're going. If I didn't invest in 3 hex speed. But let's say I did. Let's say I did on part of the setup. Turn 2 rolls around. We move into those star systems, and then we'll explore. Before we can explore, if you have any fleet, task force that does not have at least 1 warship, you're going to have to roll and potentially lose scouts and or colony transports. Every single scout and colony transport. So if you sent 20 colonists, you're going to be rolling 20 dice, which is what I'm going to have to do for this game, is add some more dice. And then every result of 1 will cost you 1 of them. But getting past that, you'll draw the card and you'll make a note of it, of course. These are the various star cards. There are more star cards than there are the stars, so that adds to the replayability of the game, which I think is nice. Also, just to make sure players aren't completely at risk of getting completely screwed over, yellow stars, there's always at least 1 within range of an entry point, never have a card that says no usable planets. But ultimately, the kind of worlds you're trying to look for are either Terran or Sub-Terran. Winning the game. Every Terran world you have is worth 3 points. Every Sub-Terran world you have is worth 1. I have not checked for tiebreakers. I presume I need to make something up for that. It's also possible to play the game even longer than the normal term limit. Anyway, so you'll discover that, and that information will help. Your colonists can go onto planets that are Terran, Sub-Terran, Minimal Terran. They cannot go into barren planets until you research Controlled Environment Technology, which is a level 1 under your industrial and technological research. And then At some point, you'll have people will have their colonized worlds, and it'll get to the production step. Uh, First off, you'll get more people. Um, Terran worlds get an additional million people for every 5 that are already there. Sub-Terran is another one for every 10 that are already there. Each planet has a maximum population limit. People in excess of this limit can then go on to colony transports, which you'll have to pay for, and emigrate elsewhere. Once you have a colony, you can also put a command post for free, I believe. Yeah, I don't see any cost for it, so it's like, okay. And it tips people off that you have the colony there, but it expands your range until you can get to the unlimited ship range technology. And then you don't need to worry about it anymore. Scouts are also get to ignore the ship range, the colony command post stuff, because they're scouts. They're meant to go the distance. But anyway, other things you can do with your production. After you get the population, then you go into industrial production. It's 1 point for every 1 million people, 1 point for every factory you have. You can build factories by developing industrial technology, improved industrial technology, and robotic industry, which will increase your capabilities. Normally, you're limited to factories based on your population that's already there as a maximum. Yeah, population plus factories, and then if you're on something that says, what is it, mineral rich, you get to double that value. So you'll have the IPs. What you do with them are pay for colony transports. A colony transport is 1 per 1 million. Scouts are 3 each, or there's the discount option of 2 for 5. Corvette is 8. A fighter is 20, and you need to have the weapons research for it. A Death Star is 40, and you need to have the weapons research for it. Factories are 4 and require the technology. Robotic factories are 3. Missile bases are 4. Advanced missile bases are 10. And planet shields are 30. Yeah. And then each colony can only contribute to building its own stuff. However, other things you can spend IPs on are your research. And that can come from multiple planets and star systems. You have to research a level 1 before you can get to a level 2. And at least 1 level 2 before you get to level 3. There's progressive discounts for some of them. Like ship speed is... you save a little bit by having the previous level. Other things are more specific, like Death Stars are cheaper if you get fighters, the fighter technology. Or the advanced missile base is cheaper if you have, the basic missile base. One of the weird crossover ones is unlimited ship range is cheaper if you have at least the 5 hex speed technology, which is interesting. And then, yeah, you'll be done with your production and all that. you will record it. You'll record your population growth and your expenditures and your research on your record sheet. And then you'll go to the next set of moving for 4 turns. And at some point, you'll reach the last 4 movement turns. And at the end of the game is when we'll check for victory. There's options to extend the game out as well. Actual combat. So, the thing with the ships is they're kept face down. Unless they're in a task force, in which case the task force has to be face up. But the ships themselves will be a secret. At some point, ships might meet over a star system. And once that happens, they'll have to reveal to each other after the initial exploration roll. And there's that possibility of fighting. When you fight, you have to show your forces to your opponent. And then you'll declare which of your ships is fighting which of your opponent's ships based on type. So let's say I have corvettes. My corvettes are going to fight their other corvettes. Or I might say I've got 4 corvettes. They have corvettes and fighters. I'm going to have 2 corvettes fight their corvettes, and another 2 corvettes fight fighters instead. And you'll roll based on the attack table per ship that you have attacking. There may be some ships that are really tough, and so you'll have to roll 2 dice and specifically roll that number of 10. In general, you're trying to roll low. Some ships are powerful enough to just automatically destroy weak things like scouts and colony transports. Other times, the ship is too weak to take them on. Like, corvettes and missile bases do nothing to Death Stars. But it'll be simultaneous fire, and then both sides have an opportunity to withdraw. If there's still attackers in the star base, in the star system, then they have an opportunity to go after the colony, unless they're protected by planet shield. You don't get to find out that your opponents have missile bases until you try to attack. However, they do have to tell you that they have a planetary shield before you can try. And then if you knock out their defenses, then you have the opportunity to conquer the population there, take over the factories. The defender has an opportunity to destroy their own factories. So, the conqueror can also use their warships to murder the population. Murdering too many population results in the planet being uninhabitable, and that planet is basically considered barren for endgame scoring. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Move, discover, build, go out further, expand your capabilities, fight opponents, and just have the most Terran and Sub-Terran planets at the end to win. Is there anything that I'm missing? Oh yeah, these little dust clouds. So apparently, you can't move through them in one turn. You have to first end your move outside, and spend one turn to move 1. And then once you get past that, you can continue going through. That's where these blue planets are hiding. That are mostly... There's a lot of mineral-rich planets to be found. Which is good for industry. Not so much for victory. Okay. Uh, why why do I like this game? I have yet to play it. I have yet to play this game. Um, we have the Mega Civ planned for this Saturday, and I'm going to bring this as backup in case we don't get at least 5 players. Um, I mainly got this game because I respect its place in board gaming history. The 4X genre of explore, expand, exploit, exterminate. This is one of the cornerstone games of that. And I got this partly out of curiosity and partly out of respect for that place in history. So I do want to try to at least play it once with someone. This is apparently a 4 to 8 hour game, which basically makes this space civ. All things considered. But yeah, sure there are a lot of space games that have done it better in more recent years, but I think it's nice to go back and see the history. The history in our board gaming timeline. And I I would love to play it. Probably get some more dice for it. Probably make better storage system for this because this didn't really work out. But I do I do like this game in concept. I just want to play it. All right, thanks very much for watching. This has been Pillar Nexus, and this is probably going to be it for tabletop games because things are getting kind of expensive, and I need to start watching my money. And there's there's still the board game league final. I could end up with another game from that. There's still the auction in November. I could end up with games from that. But I think for the time being, this will probably be the last board game for at least a month, if not most of the year. So I just want to say thank you all very much for watching my Pillar Loves Tabletop Games content. It does mean a lot. Thank you, and have a good day. We'll see you next time.